The alarm system screamed across the colony on Kepler 442b. Every screen in every home showed the same terrifying image. A cluster of asteroids, massive and deadly, was heading straight toward them. The scientists had detected them too late. There was no time to run, nowhere to hide. Sarah Chen stood in the colony's control center, her hands shaking as she read the reports. 2.3 million people lived on this world. Families, children, elderly folks who had traveled across the stars to build a new life. All of them were about to die, and there was nothing she could do to stop it. "How long do we have?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. 14 hours, the lead scientist replied, his face pale. "We've sent distress signals to Earth and the Galactic Council, but Earth is too far away. Even if they sent ships now, they wouldn't arrive in time." Sarah looked at the screens again. The asteroids were huge, spinning through space like deadly mountains. When they hit, they would crack the planet's surface. The atmosphere would burn away. Everything they had built here would turn to dust and ash. Parents across the colony held their children close. Some people prayed. Others sat in silence, watching the sky through their windows. The colony's governor addressed everyone, trying to sound brave, but Sarah could hear the fear in his voice. They were going to die, and everyone knew it. Then something changed on the sensors. "We're detecting ships," a young technician shouted. "Multiple vessels entering the system." Sarah's heart jumped. "Earth ships? Did they make it somehow?" "No," the technician said, his eyes wide. "These signatures are unknown. They're not human." On the main screen, ships appeared. They were beautiful and strange, with flowing curves and surfaces that seemed to shimmer like insect wings. There were dozens of them, moving with perfect coordination. The ships positioned themselves between the colony and the approaching asteroids. "They're hailing us," the communications officer said. The screen changed, and Sarah found herself looking at something she had never seen before. The creature had multiple eyes, mandibles that moved as it spoke, and a body covered in elegant shell-like armor. It was terrifying and magnificent at the same time. "I am Hive Queen Shazara of the Velkari," the creature said. Her voice was soft, but somehow reached into Sarah's chest. "We have detected your crisis. We will help." "Who are you?" Sarah asked. "Why would you help us?" "Life is sacred," Shazara replied simply. "We act because we can." The Velkari ships moved into position. From each vessel, beams of purple light reached out toward the asteroids. Sarah watched in amazement as the massive rocks began to change course. The asteroids weren't destroyed. Instead, they were gently pushed away, redirected to pass harmlessly by the planet. It took 6 hours. The entire colony watched as the Velkari worked with perfect precision. Every asteroid, every piece of deadly rock was moved away from them. When it was done, the sky was clear. The planet was safe. Shazara appeared on the screen again. "You are safe now. We will depart." "Wait," Sarah said, tears running down her face. "We need to thank you. We need to repay you somehow." "There is no debt," Shazara said gently. "We needed no payment to value your lives." But the humans did not see it that way. 3 weeks later, representatives from Earth arrived at the Galactic Council station. Ambassador James Rodriguez stood before the assembled aliens, representing all of humanity. The council chamber was massive, filled with hundreds of species from across the galaxy. Most of them barely noticed the humans. Humanity was new to the galactic community, small and weak compared to the ancient civilizations around them. Ambassador Rodriguez walked to the center of the chamber. Beside him, Hive Queen Shazara waited patiently. "The Velkari saved 2.3 million human lives," Rodriguez began. "They asked for nothing, they expected nothing, but humanity cannot accept this." Some of the alien representatives made sounds of approval. This was normal. Humans would offer some trade agreements, maybe some technology sharing, standard diplomatic gratitude. Therefore, Rodriguez continued, humanity makes a blood oath. The chamber went silent. Many species did not understand the term. A blood oath is an ancient human tradition, Rodriguez explained. It is a promise written in our very souls. The Velkari have our eternal gratitude and loyalty. When they need us, we will answer, no matter the cost, no matter the time, no matter the sacrifice required. This debt will be remembered by every human in every generation until the end of our species. He turned to Shazara and placed his hand over his heart, then extended it to her. We swear this before the galaxy. When the Velkari have need, humanity will answer. Shazara touched his hand with one of her delicate limbs. She seemed moved by the gesture, though she did not fully understand it. In the galleries above, other species watched with amusement. The Tholian ambassador leaned toward his aide. How touching! But what could humans possibly offer? They have weak ships, primitive weapons, short lives. This oath is meaningless. The Zarnian representative agreed. Humans are sentimental creatures. They will forget this promise within a few generations. But they were wrong about humanity. Back on Earth, the blood oath became law. Every school taught children about the Velkari and what they had done. Military academies created new courses studying everything about the Velkari, their language, their culture, their territory, their biology. Human engineers began designing weapons and ships specifically to work alongside Velkari technology. A secret protocol was created, locked away in military computers across all human space. It was called Operation Repayment. It contained detailed plans for every possible scenario where the Velkari might need help, battle strategies, evacuation procedures, defense formations, everything. Sarah Chen, who had survived the crisis on Kepler 442b, spent the rest of her life working to ensure humanity never forgot. She traveled to every human colony, telling the story. She spoke to children, to soldiers, to politicians. The Velkari gave us tomorrow, she would say. We owe them everything. Years passed, then decades. The Velkari continued their peaceful existence, never asking humanity for anything. The galaxy moved on, forgetting about the small drama on a minor human colony. But humanity did not forget. In every human home, in every ship, in every military base, there was a reminder. A picture of Hive Queen Shazara, a date marking the day they were saved, and words that every human child learned to recite. We remember, we are ready, the debt will be paid. The galaxy had no idea what it meant when humans made a promise. They would learn centuries later when the entire galaxy would shake at humanity's answer to a simple message. But that time had not yet come. 340 years had passed since the day the Velkari saved Kepler 442b. The galaxy had changed in that time. New species joined the Galactic Council. Old empires fell. Wars came and went. But through it all, humanity quietly grew stronger. Commander Maria Santos sat in her quarters aboard the UES Defiance, reading an old book. It was a diary written by her great-great-great-grandmother, Sarah Chen, the woman who had been there on Kepler 442b when the asteroids came. Maria touched the faded pages gently, reading words written centuries ago. I watched them save us, Sarah had written. I will never forget. My children will never forget. This debt is forever. Maria closed the book and looked at the picture on her wall. Hive Queen Shazara, the Velkari who had led the rescue. Every human ship had this picture somewhere. It was tradition, a reminder of what they owed. Her tablet chimed. New orders from Earth Command. She opened the file and began reading the weekly intelligence reports. Most of it was routine. Trade disputes, border patrols, nothing unusual. Then she reached the section on the Velkari, and her blood went cold. The Velkari were in trouble. Serious trouble. Over the past century, misfortune had struck them repeatedly. A plague had killed billions of their people. Their economy had collapsed. They had lost most of their territory in conflicts with neighboring species. Now they controlled only their home system and 2 nearby colonies. The proud species that had once saved humanity was now weak and struggling to survive. But that was not the worst news. The Cracks' dominion was expanding. Maria knew about the Cracks. Everyone did. They were reptilian, aggressive, and ruthless. In just 15 years, they had conquered 23 star systems. They showed no mercy to species that resisted. Entire populations had been enslaved or killed. Intelligence reports suggested the Cracks were planning something big. Their fleets were gathering near Velkari space. Analysts believed they wanted the Velkari home system because it sat on a strategic hyperspace junction. Control of that junction would let the Cracks expand even faster. Maria felt her hands tighten into fists. The Velkari were in danger. But what could humanity do? The galaxy had grown since humanity joined it. Other species had become stronger. Humanity was no longer the weakest, but they were far from the strongest. The Cracks' dominion had military power that dwarfed what humanity could field. Still, Maria knew what would happen if the Velkari called for help. Every human knew. They had been preparing for this for 340 years. Across human space, others were reading the same reports. On Earth, in a secret military facility deep underground, General Marcus Webb reviewed Operation Repayment for the 1,000th time. The protocol was constantly updated, refined, improved. Every generation of military leaders added to it. They studied every aspect of Velkari society and every potential threat they might face. "Sir," his aide said quietly, "the projections are clear. If the Cracks attack the Velkari, they will win. The Velkari cannot defend themselves." "I know," Webb said. His office was filled with maps of Velkari space, battle simulations, resource calculations. "Have we received any communication from them?" "No, sir. The Velkari have not asked for help." Webb nodded slowly. "They won't ask. They're too proud. They saved us without being asked, and they'll die without asking for help in return." "What do we do, sir?" "We wait," Webb said, though it hurt to say it. "We cannot deploy our forces without their permission, but we can be ready. Alert all commands. Put Operation Repayment on standby status. When the call comes, we move immediately." In the Velkari home system, things were desperate. Hive Queen Shazara was old now, ancient by the standards of her species. She had ruled for 400 years, guiding her people through prosperity and then through disaster. She sat in her chamber, feeling the weight of those centuries pressing down on her. Her advisors stood before her, their mandibles clicking with anxiety. "The Cracks' fleets are gathering," one of them said. "Our scouts report 5,000 warships, maybe more." "Can we defend ourselves?" Shazara asked, though she already knew the answer. "No, Your Majesty. We have perhaps 200 functional warships. Our defense systems are old. Our weapons are outdated. If the Cracks attack, we will fall within days." Shazara closed her multiple eyes. She thought of her people, the billions who depended on her. She thought of the children in the nursery hives, innocent and unaware of the danger coming toward them. "Should we evacuate?" another advisor asked. "We could move the population to our colony worlds." "The Cracks will follow us there," Shazara said quietly. "We have nowhere to run." "Then we must ask for help," the first advisor said. "The Galactic Council—" "Will do nothing," Shazara interrupted. "The Council does not interfere in expansion wars. We all know this. The Cracks have not broken any galactic laws. They have the right to claim unclaimed territory, and they will say our system is forfeit because we cannot defend it." The chamber fell silent. Everyone knew she was right. Then one of the younger advisors spoke up. What about the humans? Shazara's eyes opened. The humans? They made an oath, Your Majesty, 340 years ago. They said when we had need, they would answer. That was centuries ago, another advisor scoffed. Humans are short-lived creatures. Those who made that oath are long dead. Their descendants will have forgotten. But Shazara was not so sure. She remembered that day in the Galactic Council when the human ambassador had made his strange promise. She had seen something in his eyes, a fire, a determination that had surprised her. What do we have to lose? The young advisor pressed. If we do nothing, we die. If we ask and they refuse, we still die. But if they remember? Shazara was quiet for a long time. Finally, she made her decision. Send a quantum message to Earth, she said. Keep it simple. Tell them, we have need. The message was sent. It traveled faster than light, crossing the vast distance between the Velkari home system and Earth in moments. In Earth Command, alarms started blaring. General Webb ran to the communications center. What is it? Message from the Velkari, sir. Quantum band, highest priority. Webb's heart was pounding. Put it on screen. The image appeared. Hive Queen Shazara, looking old and tired, but with dignity in her posture. To our friends, the humans, she said. Long ago, you made a promise. We never expected to call upon it. We ask for nothing except this message reaches you. The Crack's dominion threatens our home. We cannot stand against them. If you can offer any help, any assistance for our refugees, we would be grateful. If you cannot, we understand. The debt you spoke of is paid simply by your memory of us. The message ended. Webb stood perfectly still for 3 seconds. Then he pressed the alert button that connected him to every military installation in human space. This is General Marcus Webb, Earth Command. Operation Repayment is now active. I repeat, Operation Repayment is now active. All forces proceed to designated assembly points. We deploy in 6 hours. Across human space, in every system, on every world, the response was immediate. Ships powered up. Soldiers reported for duty. Factories that had seemed abandoned suddenly came online, revealing that they had been maintained in secret for exactly this moment. Humanity was going to war. The galaxy was about to learn what it meant when humans made a promise. The message reached Commander Maria Santos while she was in the middle of a training exercise. Her communication officer burst onto the bridge, breathing hard. Commander, priority alert from Earth Command. Operation Repayment is active. For a moment, Maria could not breathe. This was it. The moment every human soldier had trained for. The moment they had been waiting for across generations. All hands to battle stations, she ordered, her voice steady despite the storm of emotions inside her. Set course for Rally Point Alpha. Maximum speed. Throughout human space, the same scene repeated thousands of times. Warships changed course. Troops scrambled to their transports. Families said quick goodbyes as soldiers left for deployment. Private Jun Okafor was fresh out of basic training, assigned to a Marine battalion on Mars. He was in the cafeteria when the alarm sounded. Around him, veteran soldiers jumped to their feet. What's happening? Jun asked a sergeant. The sergeant grinned, though there was something fierce in his expression. Operation Repayment, kid. The Velkari need us. We're going to war. Jun's hands started shaking. He had learned about the Velkari in school, like every human child. He knew the stories, but he never thought he would actually be part of this. He was 19 years old and had never seen combat. Move it, Private, the sergeant barked. Get your gear. We ship out in 4 hours. Within 6 hours, humanity had assembled the largest military force in its history. 3,400 warships, 850,000 soldiers, support vessels, medical ships, supply carriers. It was 70% of humanity's entire military strength. General Webb stood in Earth Command's main operations center, watching the fleet markers on the holographic display. Each point of light represented a ship, and there were thousands of them gathering at rally points across human space. "Sir, we're leaving Earth practically defenseless," his second-in-command warned. "If anyone attacks us while our forces are deployed, then we'll deal with it," Webb said firmly. "The Velkari are in danger. We gave our word. But, sir, the numbers don't make sense. Intelligence says the cracks have at least 5,000 warships. We're sending 3,400. Even if we commit everything, we're outnumbered." Webb turned to look at his officer. "You're thinking like we're trying to win a conventional war. We're not." Read the operation plan again. "We're not going there to defeat the cracks. We're going there to make sure the Velkari survive. There's a difference." News of the deployment spread quickly through the Galactic Council. Emergency sessions were called. Representatives from hundreds of species gathered to discuss what humanity was doing. Ambassador Jukren of the Tholian Collective demanded to speak with the human representative. He was a tall creature with crystal-like skin that refracted light in strange ways. "This is madness," Jukren declared in the council chambers. "You cannot be serious about this deployment." The human ambassador, a woman named Patricia Okonkwo, stood calmly before the assembled aliens. "We are completely serious. The Crack's Dominion has 10 times the military power you are deploying," another representative added. "You will be destroyed. Your entire species will be left vulnerable." "We are aware of the odds," Patricia replied. "Then why?" Jukren demanded. "The Velkari saved your colony 340 years ago. The humans who benefited from that are long dead. This debt you speak of, it means nothing now. You owe them nothing." Patricia's expression hardened. "You really don't understand us at all, do you?" She activated a holographic display. Images appeared, showing human children in classrooms, learning about the Velkari. Human soldiers training for scenarios specifically designed around protecting Velkari space. Memorials on every human world dedicated to Hive Queen Shazara. "Every human child learns this story," Patricia said. "Every soldier trains for this day. Every generation has passed down the promise. You think we forget because individuals die? You think time erases obligation? That's where you're wrong about humanity." She looked around the chamber at all the alien faces watching her. "When the Velkari saved Kepler 442b, they saved 2.3 million of our people. 2.3 million mothers, fathers, children, grandparents. Those people lived and had families. Their children had children. Do you know how many humans alive today are descendants of the people saved that day?" She paused, letting the question hang in the air. 437 million humans can trace their ancestry directly to that colony. Nearly 500 million people who exist because the Velkari chose to help us. And you ask why we honor this debt? The chamber was silent. "The Velkari will not stand alone," Patricia continued. "We gave our word. Humans keep their word. Every single time." She turned to leave, then stopped, and looked back at Jukren. "And if any of you were ever wondering whether humans could be trusted as allies, whether our promises meant anything, whether we would stand by you in your darkest hour, you're about to find out." In the Crack's Dominion's war fleet, War Master Skrath received reports of the human deployment with amusement. He was a massive reptilian creature, covered in armored scales, with claws that could tear through steel. "Humans," he hissed to his officers, "why would humans come here? They claim a debt to the Velkari. War Master." Skrath laughed, a sound like rocks grinding together. "A debt from 3 centuries ago? How sentimental. How foolish." He looked at the tactical display showing his fleet. 5,000 warships, the pride of the Crack's military, battle-hardened, well-armed, experienced. "When the humans arrive, offer them a chance to leave," Skrath ordered. "I don't want to waste ammunition on them. This is between the Cracks and the Velkari. If the humans insist on interfering, we will destroy them quickly and then proceed with the main objective. Sir, should we recall any additional forces? No, Scrath said dismissively. We already have overwhelming superiority. Adding more ships would be wasteful. It was a decision he would regret. The human fleet traveled through hyperspace, converging on Velkari territory from multiple directions. Commander Maria Santos stood on the bridge of the Defiance, watching the countdown timer. 3 hours until they reached their destination. Her crew was quiet, focused. Everyone knew what they were flying toward. Death, most likely. The odds of survival were not good. But nobody had hesitated when the orders came. Nobody had asked to be left behind. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the ship's xenobiologist, came onto the bridge. She had spent her entire career studying the Velkari. She knew their language, their culture, their biology better than almost any human alive. Commander, Yuki said softly, I've prepared medical protocols for treating Velkari casualties. If we can get wounded Velkari onto our ships, I can help them. Maria nodded. Thank you, Doctor. Let's hope we get that chance. Do you think we can actually do this? Yuki asked. Save them, I mean. Maria thought of her great-great-great-grandmother's diary. She thought of all the years humanity had spent preparing for this moment. She thought of Private Okafor and the thousands of other young soldiers who had volunteered without hesitation. I think we're about to show the galaxy what humans are capable of when we make a promise, Maria said. The timer ticked down. 2 hours. 1 hour, 30 minutes. And then they arrived in Velkari space, where the Quakes fleet was already moving into position around the homeworld. The Battle of Velkar Prime was about to begin, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Quakes fleet surrounded Velkar Prime like a noose tightening around a neck. 5,000 warships, arranged in perfect formation, their weapons pointing toward the planet below. On the surface, billions of Velkari waited for the end. Hive Queen Shazara stood in her command center, watching the tactical displays. Her mandibles trembled slightly. She had lived for 4 centuries, seen wonders and disasters, but she had never felt so helpless. Your Majesty, her military advisor said, War Master Scrath is hailing us. The screen activated, showing the massive reptilian commander. His scales gleamed under the lights of his bridge. His eyes were cold and predatory. Hive Queen, Scrath said, his voice dripping with false courtesy. The Quakes Dominion claims this system. You have 12 hours to evacuate. After that, we will begin bombardment. Resist, and we will show no mercy. Shazara straightened her posture, refusing to show fear. This is our home. We will not abandon it. Then you will die defending it, Scrath said simply. The choice is yours. The transmission ended. Shazara looked at her people around her. Warriors, scientists, workers, all of them loyal, all of them brave, all of them about to die for a home they could not save. Prepare evacuation ships for the children and the elderly, she ordered quietly. If we cannot save everyone, we save who we can. Then alarms started blaring. New contacts! A sensor operator shouted. Multiple ships entering the system. Hundreds of them. No, thousands! The tactical display erupted with new markers. Ships appeared from hyperspace, emerging at multiple points around the system. The signatures were unmistakable. Human warships. Shazara felt something she had not felt in years. Hope. Commander Maria Santos watched as the human fleet completed its jump into Velkari space. 3,400 ships, arriving in perfect synchronization. It was the result of 340 years of planning, and it showed. All ships, Battle Formation Delta, Admiral Chen Jiang's voice came through on the fleet-wide channel. He commanded the operation from the flagship, the UES Resolution. Remember your training. Remember why we're here. On her tactical display, Maria could see the Quakes fleet. They were massive, numerous, and positioned with military precision. Human ships looked tiny in comparison. "Commander," her weapons officer said nervously, "they outnumber us significantly." "I know," Maria said calmly. "That's not the point. Our job isn't to defeat them. Our job is to make them regret coming here." The cracks were hailing them. Maria nodded to her communications officer. War Master Skarath's face appeared on screen. He looked amused. "Humans," he said, laughing. "You actually came. How unexpected. I will give you one chance to leave. This is not your fight." Admiral Chen's face appeared on a shared channel. He was an older man with gray hair and eyes that had seen many battles. "War Master Skarath," Chen said formally, "you have threatened the Velkari. 340 years ago, they saved human lives when we could not save ourselves. We swore an oath. The debt will be paid. Leave this system now or face the consequences." Skarath laughed harder. "You have 3,000 ships. I have 5,000. You are outnumbered, outgunned, and clearly insane. What makes you think you can stop us?" "You're asking the wrong question," Chen replied. "You should be asking how much it will cost you to find out." "Then you choose death," Skarath said, his amusement fading. "So be it." The channel closed. "All ships," Admiral Chen ordered, "execute Operation Repayment. Remember, we're not here to win. We're here to buy time. Make every shot count. Make every sacrifice matter." The battle began. Human ships surged forward in groups, moving in patterns that seemed chaotic but were actually carefully calculated. The Cracks' fleet opened fire, and space lit up with energy weapons and missiles. The first human ships died within minutes. They absorbed fire, drawing Cracks' vessels out of position. Other human ships swept in from different angles, targeting specific weak points that humanity had spent decades identifying in Cracks' ship designs. Private June Okafor was on a boarding ship, waiting with his Marine unit. Their job was simple but terrifying. Get close to Cracks' vessels, board them, and cause as much damage as possible from the inside. "Remember your training," his sergeant shouted over the sounds of explosions outside. "Cracks have thick armor on the outside, but their internal systems are vulnerable. We hit them where it hurts." Their ship shook as it attached to a Cracks destroyer. Cutting torches melted through the hull. June's hands were sweating inside his gloves, but he gripped his weapon tight. "Go, go, go!" They poured into the Cracks' ship. The interior was hot and dark, built for larger beings. Cracks' warriors came at them, huge and armored, but humans were smaller, faster, and had trained specifically for this kind of combat. Jun fired his weapon, the recoil pushing against his shoulder. A Cracks soldier fell. Another came at him with claws extended. Jun rolled under the strike and fired upward, hitting the weak point under the creature's jaw. His unit pushed deeper into the ship, planting explosives on critical systems. Around them, the Cracks vessel shuddered as more human boarding parties attacked other sections. "Charges set! Get out! Get out!" They ran back to their transport ship, jumping aboard seconds before the explosives detonated. The Cracks destroyer tore itself apart from the inside. But for every Cracks ship damaged, humans paid a terrible price. Commander Maria Santos watched as the UES Valor exploded, taking its entire crew with it. She knew the captain, had served with him for years. Now he was gone, vaporized in an instant. "Target their command ship," she ordered, her voice hard. "If we can take out their leadership, maybe we can break their coordination." The Defiance dove toward the Cracks flagship, dodging fire. Maria's crew worked like a machine, every person doing their job with precision born from years of drilling for this exact scenario. "Torpedoes armed! Fire!" The torpedoes streaked through space. Cracks' point defense systems destroyed most of them, but 3 got through, slamming into the flagship's shields. Then return fire hit the Defiance. The ship lurched violently. "Hull breach on decks 5 and 6. Shields down to 30%. "Keep firing," Maria ordered. More human ships were dying. The cracks were good, experienced, and powerful, but something strange was happening. The cracks were winning individual battles, but they were losing position. Human ships were dying, but they were dying in specific locations, pushing the cracks fleet into awkward formations. On his flagship, War Master Skarath began to realize something was wrong. "They're hurting us," he said slowly. "These humans aren't fighting to destroy us, they're positioning us." "For what, War Master?" Before he could answer, the Velkhari struck. Hive Queen Shazara had watched the humans sacrifice themselves to save her people. She had seen their ships die, one after another, never retreating, never giving up. It reminded her of something she had almost forgotten: honor, courage, the willingness to fight against impossible odds. "Activate the ancient systems," she commanded. "Your Majesty, those systems are centuries old. We don't even know if they still work." "Activate them," she repeated firmly. Deep beneath Velkhar Prime, ancient machinery hummed to life. Gravity well generators that had not been used in 300 years powered up. The Velkhari had built them long ago when they were a warrior race, before they became peaceful. Purple beams shot up from the planet's surface, connecting with satellites positioned throughout the system. The beams spread out, creating a web of gravitational manipulation. The cracks' ships, positioned exactly where the humans had pushed them through sacrifice and tactical genius, found themselves caught in the web. Their engines strained. Their formation collapsed. "Now!" Admiral Chen ordered. "All remaining ships full assault!" The human fleet, reduced to less than half its original strength, struck with everything they had. Dr. Yuki Tanaka fed real-time information about Velkhari gravity well effects to every ship, allowing them to use the fields to their advantage. Hive Queen Shazara piloted a small ship herself, something she had not done in decades. She flew into the heart of the cracks formation, her gravity well generator creating chaos in their ranks. Commander Maria Santos, her ship barely holding together, lined up one final shot on the cracks flagship. "This is for everyone who died today," she whispered. "This is for the debt we owe." The Defiance's main cannon fired, combined with weapons from a dozen other human ships. The concentrated firepower punched through the cracks flagship's shields and hull. Secondary explosions rippled through the vessel. War Master Skarath had time for one final thought before his ship exploded. These humans were insane, magnificent, but insane. The death of their commander broke the cracks fleet's will. Ships began jumping to hyperspace, fleeing the system. The battle was over. In the silence that followed, Maria Santos looked at her displays. Of 3,400 human ships, only 340 remained intact. 640,000 humans were dead or dying. But Velkhar Prime still stood. The planet was untouched. The Velkhari were safe. "Debt paid," Maria whispered, then collapsed from her wounds. Around the system, surviving humans and Velkhari worked together to rescue survivors and tend to the wounded. And the galaxy watched in stunned silence, trying to understand what they had just witnessed. The medical bay on Velkhar Prime was filled beyond capacity. Human and Velkhari wounded lay side by side, tended by doctors from both species. Dr. Yuki Tanaka moved between beds, using her knowledge of Velkhari biology to save lives that would have been lost. Commander Maria Santos woke up 3 days after the battle. Her body was wrapped in bandages, and pain medication flowed through her veins. She tried to sit up and immediately regretted it. "Easy, Commander," a Velkhari medic said, gently pushing her back down. "You have 3 broken ribs and internal injuries. You need rest." "My crew?" Maria asked. "Many survived. Many did not." The medic's mandibles clicked sadly. "You fought with great courage." Maria closed her eyes, thinking of all the faces she would never see again. Good people, brave people, who had died because humanity kept its promises. Was it worth it? She asked quietly. The Velkari medic looked at her with multiple eyes that seemed infinitely kind. You saved our entire species. Our children will live because of you. Yes, human. It was worth it. Across the galaxy, the news spread like fire. The Battle of Velkar Prime was all anyone could talk about. What humanity had done was unprecedented, shocking, and completely unexpected. In the Crax Dominion capital, the surviving fleet commanders faced judgment. The military council was furious at the loss. How did this happen? The High Commander demanded. We had superior numbers, superior weapons. How did we lose to a combined force of humans and Velkari? The surviving officers had no good answer. Finally, one of them spoke. The humans did not fight like a normal military force. They did not fight to win. They fought to buy time, to position us, to sacrifice themselves for a specific goal. Every death served a purpose. We could not predict their actions because they were willing to die in ways that made no tactical sense, until suddenly it all made sense. Another officer added, They knew our ship designs better than we do. They had studied us for centuries, apparently. They knew exactly where to hit us, how to hurt us, what would make us vulnerable. And they actually kept a promise made 340 years ago, the High Commander said slowly, by people who are long dead, to save a species that could not help them in return. He looked around the room at his officers. Send a message to our diplomatic corps. Under no circumstances are we to engage in hostilities with humanity, ever. Add them to the list of species we do not provoke. Sir, are you saying humans are that dangerous? I am saying that any species willing to sacrifice 70% of their military for a 3-century-old promise is not a species we want as an enemy. What would they do to defend their own people? What would they do if we actually threatened Earth? No, we leave the humans alone. The decision rippled through Crax space. Other aggressive species took note. The humans had just become much more dangerous in the eyes of the galaxy, not because of their weapons, but because of their character. In the Galactic Council, everything had changed. Ambassador Patricia Okonkwo stood before the assembled representatives. The chamber was packed. Everyone wanted to hear what humanity had to say. 47 species have requested formal alliance treaties with humanity in the past week, Patricia announced. We are reviewing each request carefully. Ambassador Jacren of the Tholian Collective stood up. He looked different now, his crystalline body somehow showing respect where before there had been condescension. Ambassador Okonkwo, he said formally, the Tholian Collective wishes to apologize for our earlier remarks. We did not understand humanity. We do now. Other ambassadors murmured agreement. We thought your promise was empty sentiment, Jacren continued. We thought you would forget, or make excuses, or calculate that the cost was too high. We were wrong. The galaxy has never seen anything like what you did. Patricia nodded slowly. Humanity does not make promises lightly, and we never break them. Let that be a lesson to everyone here. We are loyal allies to those who befriend us. We are grateful to those who help us. And we have very long memories. She paused, letting her words sink in. We do not seek to dominate. We do not seek empire, but we will stand by our friends no matter the cost. The Velkari saved human lives 340 years ago. We repaid that debt. If any of you help humanity, if any of you show us kindness, know that we will remember. We will remember for 1,000 years if necessary. The implications were enormous. Suddenly, having humanity as an ally became the most valuable diplomatic asset in the galaxy. Species began reviewing every interaction they had ever had with humans. Those who had helped humanity in the past were suddenly receiving diplomatic missions offering favorable trade agreements and mutual defense pacts. Those who had wronged humanity became very, very nervous. On Velkar Prime, Hive Queen Shazara requested a meeting with Admiral Chen Zhang. The old admiral had survived the battle, though he now walked with a limp from his injuries. They met in the royal chamber, a beautiful space with geometric patterns that seemed to shift in the light. Shazara had prepared a ceremony, a formal offering of everything the Velkari had to give. "Admiral Chen," she began, "the Velkari owe humanity a debt that can never be repaid. We offer you access to all our technology. We offer you our territory as human space. We offer you our loyalty for all time. Please, accept these gifts as partial payment for what you have done." Admiral Chen listened respectfully. Then he shook his head. "Hive Queen, we cannot accept." Shazara's mandibles clicked in confusion. "But you must. You saved us. You lost so many. Surely you deserve compensation." "The debt is paid," Chen said gently. 340 years ago, you saved human lives without asking for anything. You did it because it was right. We have now saved Velkari lives. We did it because we gave our word. The debt is settled. We ask for nothing except your friendship." "But the cost," Shazara protested. "So many humans died." "They died with honor," Chen said firmly. "They died knowing they kept humanity's promise. There is no greater purpose than that. Please, Hive Queen, do not dishonor their sacrifice by treating it as a transaction. They gave their lives for friendship, not for payment." Shazara was quiet for a long moment. Then she bowed her head, a gesture of deep respect in Velkari culture. "Then we are friends," she said simply. "Forever." "Forever," Chen agreed. 20 years passed. Private Jun Okafor, who had survived the battle as a young man, was now a decorated colonel. He taught at the Earth Military Academy, where every class studied the Battle of Velkar Prime in detail. His students would ask him the same question every year. "Sir, was it worth it? Would you do it again?" And every year, Jun would give the same answer. "Ask yourself what kind of galaxy you want to live in. One where promises mean nothing, where only the strong survive, where helping others is considered weakness, or one where loyalty matters, where keeping your word means something, where standing by your friends is valued above all else." He would look at his young students, seeing the same determination he once had. "The Velkari saved us when we were helpless. We repaid that debt when they were helpless. Because of that, because of what we did, humanity now has allies across the galaxy. Species that trust us. Civilizations that know when humans make a promise, we keep it. So yes, it was worth it. And yes, I would do it again." Commander Maria Santos, now an admiral herself, visited Velkar Prime every year on the anniversary of the battle. She would stand at the memorial where the names of the human dead were carved in stone, and she would remember. The memorial was beautiful, created by Velkari artists. It showed human and Velkari ships flying together, and underneath, words in both languages. Here are remembered the 640,000 humans who gave their lives to honor a promise made 340 years before their birth. They demonstrated that humanity's greatest weapon is not its ships or weapons, but its unwavering loyalty to those who showed them kindness. The galaxy will never forget. Maria's own daughter came with her on the 20th anniversary. The girl was 10 years old, curious and bright. "Mama?" the girl asked. "Why did so many people have to die? You barely knew the Velkari." Maria knelt down to look her daughter in the eyes. "They saved us first, baby. When we were helpless and about to die, they helped us. Not because they wanted something from us, but because it was right. And when they needed help, we kept our promise. That's what makes us human. That's what makes us different." "But so many died," the girl said, tears in her eyes. "They did," Maria agreed. "But because of what they did, you live in a galaxy where humanity has friends everywhere, where other species trust us, where our word means something. They died so you could live in a better universe." She stood up and looked at the memorial again. The Velkari gave us tomorrow when they saved Kepler 442b. We gave them tomorrow when we saved Velkar Prime, and now both our species will have many tomorrows together. Yes, child, it was worth it. Across the galaxy, humanity's reputation had transformed completely. The phrase human guarantee became standard in galactic commerce, meaning a promise that would absolutely be kept. Species sought human alliances not because humans were the strongest, but because they were the most reliable. The story of the Blood Oath and the Battle of Velkar Prime was taught in schools on hundreds of worlds. It became a legend, a reminder that the most powerful force in the universe was not weapons or numbers, but the strength of keeping your word. And humanity, once a minor species barely noticed by the galaxy, became the center of the largest alliance network in known space, not through conquest, not through intimidation, but through one simple principle. When humans make a promise, they keep it, no matter how long it takes, no matter the cost. The galaxy had learned what it meant when humans repay a debt, and the entire galaxy would never forget